Tonight on Debate Amongst Friends, Doc and Prof go over the 2019 NBA Finals, which no one is talking about, the NBA Draft preview, and the little narrative that could. NBA beat writers are running amok of free agency.
Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, this is Debate Amongst Friends live on YouTube, Twitch, and big shout outs to the Periscope folks out there. I am the Professor John Gotti, and always by my side, my client, the reigning, defending, undisputed podcast champion that goes through transitions like the seasons of the year. He is the lunatic fringe, Doc Moxley.
Moxley, that's it. Moxley with a lot of moxie. And unlike a certain Favre, John Gotti's here, and he's not returning, he's not retiring, he's right here, not playing any games on social media like these other puppets.
I try so hard. Like, here's the problem that I have. Before we get out into our thing, let's get this out in the air right now. I have a problem. Okay, we have a sports media.
We do. Are we doing this right now?
That spends more time. Yes, let's do this right now. Let's do this right freaking now.
Wow, we're doing this right
because
now.
We've been talking about this for the past few days, and maybe we should start doing like little clips of these, conversations that we have instead of us waiting on a Wednesday. Mm-hmm. But we've both been feeling very perturbed by these analysts. And it didn't even stem from the beginning of the week. It stemmed from the beginning of the last week of the season.
It is.
Where they have done nothing more. And we're finally talking about this team. They have done nothing more but talked about the Los Angeles Lakers.
This is true. Who weren't in the playoffs.
Who were not in the playoffs, didn't make it to the conference finals, didn't make it to the NBA finals, and dang sure didn't win the NBA championship.
But they dominated headlines.
But they dominated all the headlines. All of them.
The narrative is being built so high and so quickly. But I guess we're going to jump right into it. I mean,
let's just do it. Because the people want us to talk about the Lakers. These clickbaiting websites like ESPN.com, we like Bleacher Report, but they kind of have that issue too. CBS is, of course, its own beast. Like, I'm calling them all out.
So, I was listening to Locked On Rockets, as I normally do, I think every other day he's on. And Ben Dubose, shout out to Ben Dubose, he does a pretty good job, even though he pushes his own narrative. He mentioned today, or I guess last night, that the stories that some of these writers put out before confirming the source and confirming the story, they put it out so fast, and then before you know it, it's spreading like a wildfire, but it's not true.
It not only is it spreading like wildfire, it's to the point to where people believe this has more facts than the actual facts.
Right, and yesterday I just so happened to post something on our Facebook page. Of course, I had
Facebook.com/Debate Amongst Friends or group/Debate Amongst Friends.
That's right. And, I had posted hey, listen. Or I think you posted it. You posted something as well. But it's I'm not going to believe anything until I hear from Chris Paul's agent
Yep.
or Chris Paul himself
Yep.
that says, hey, I want to be traded. I can't stand playing with James Harden any longer. And granted, I know he may not say those exact words,
No.
but I'm sure he would say something of the sort because he worked his way out of New Orleans. He worked his way out of LA.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wanted to work his way out of the city of Houston, he would work it out. But also, we talked about the trade
Yes.
that's dominating the week in which the Toronto Raptors won the championship. Anthony Davis, for everything that the Lakers had except for Kyle Kuzma on the table, a plethora of first-round draft picks.
Yep.
People are saying now, after the initial shockwave, that that executives don't believe that they'll be able to build a team around these two. I just don't like the narrative of saying just because LeBron James and Anthony Davis team up, that they're automatically the favorites to win the titles.
Exactly.
How crazy is that?
Exactly.
When you have a rising Nuggets team that fought hard in the playoffs, a Spurs team that's always sneaky good. Now you have a Jazz team that just got a little more veteran presence, which we'll talk about. You got a Rockets team that, although they quote unquote have their family issues, they're a 50 to 60 win team, baby.
I'm about to pull a Macho Man Randy Savage over here. Better than the best kind of moment right there, but you're preaching.
I mean, I'm just saying, you got a Thunder team who's going to run it back, and they're always up and down, but you know that they're going to get in the playoffs and they're going to do what they normally do. So I just don't feel, and I didn't even mention the Warriors, despite what everybody believes. As Draymond said at his press conference, if you believe that we're done, you're a fool.
You got another thing coming.
You got a whole other thing coming now, because I think Draymond will step it up. If he has to score more, he'll score more. But honestly, the Warriors, they've done pretty solid in the draft. Their draft picks usually turn into some pretty solid role players. We don't know about Andre Iguodala and all those other guys, if they're coming back. Boogie Cousins may come back, which, he'll be potentially a little bit healthier. So that might work out for them. But this narrative that Anthony Davis, who, from what I've heard, has never really won more than 45 games. I want to say more than twice in his career.
Yep.
Going to a Lakers team who just didn't make the playoffs with,
and finally got out the first round 2 years ago.
To get swept.
To get swept the next round.
Right. So my thing is, I don't know how Anthony Davis, don't get me wrong, Anthony Davis is good, but I don't know how Anthony Davis and LeBron, who, let's just say, they average 50 points together, 50 to 60 points together.
Which is fair.
Per game. Which is fair. 50 to 60 points. You're talking about needing 50 to 60 points to compete with the Warriors, Rockets, Nuggets, Thunder. Like, you need scorers.
Yes.
So they basically have to scrap everything that they had last year, with the exception of Kyle Kuzma, who might be able to get 15.
He could probably get you almost 20. It depends. Like, here's the problem. They only have 5 people on their roster.
Right now, yes, that's right.
Right now.
With no draft pick.
With no draft picks.
Yeah.
They only have 5 people. I think they still got the second round draft pick, actually.
I was about to say second round. Yeah, they might have second round.
But they only got 5 people on the roster. I have never, and Prof means ever, had an off season where a team with less than 7 players on the payroll were christened the NBA champions before the season started.
Well, you know what happens in this situation though is that all of a sudden you're going to hear these ridiculous rumors of, oh, Steve Nash is coming out of retirement, and Ray Allen is coming out of retirement to play with LeBron in LA. Oh my God, Chris Bosh is all of a sudden healthy. Mario Chalmers, who shouldn't even have a
That's not
basketball
happening.
in his hand,
That's definitely not
he's
happening.
he's coming to play. All of a sudden, they wound up
No.
getting freaking Jimmy, Jimmer Fredette is coming to the Lakers. McBuckets somehow it comes to everybody. They get everybody.
Oh,
Miritich.
and this is where I have the problem with that narrative. It's not, and you heard me say this, and I'm going to say this live on the air in a moment. But it's not 2010 anymore. It's not,
Right.
2013, 2014, 2015. Like, this is LeBron James on the decline,
Mm-hmm.
not in his prime years.
And that's why I don't know about that's why I said maybe 50 to 60 points, and I might be giving a little leeway with that
Leniency,
50
of course.
something. Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
the era of the king isn't
Mhm.
there anymore.
No, it's not. It's not.
It goes to what I'm going to say next. This is going to be very controversial, but I don't care because
Do it.
you know I'm right. You know
Yeah.
I'm correct. They don't like the way I say it, but you know I'm right.
Do it.
I've never seen a player who was called the best player in the world
Preach.
have to, time and time again, require a top 15 player to be on his squad to have an inkling of a chance to win a championship. Here's the part that makes it funny. For some reason, this 2016 championship, this is for you, Cleveland.
That's great.
They are undervaluing what Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love did for that team.
Agreed. And even the likes of J.R. Smith, he had a game or two that really, really helped them big time.
Which is true, but it's like, and we keep saying this in football, the quarterback gets all the credit, and he gets all the blame. That 2016 team, and I love trolling that team so much,
Absolutely.
it was not just LeBron James.
No, it wasn't.
It is not. Kyrie Irving at that time was top 15 in the league.
Honestly, and I know this is gonna, sound crazy and it's irrelevant, but
But to my point though, do you agree or not agree with me? Since 2010, LeBron James had needed a top 15 player, sometimes top 5, well, top 10 player on his roster.
Why are you saying 2010?
Because that's when the trend started.
I mean, I feel like, and
because that was the Heatles.
But even before he left,
he left, he was getting more players that was past their prime.
Right.
Like Antoine Jameson, Shaq, and all them cats. But Shaq wasn't Big Diesel anymore. Shaq was the hoopty, the 97 Toyota Corolla, who had over 250,000 miles on him.
Now, whose fault is that, though? Whose fault is that?
That's the GM.
Think about it. I mean, did you think about it like this? And don't get me wrong, they won, I believe, 40 to 50 games.
But remember, even before 2010, before the Heatles, anytime a player got waived or bought out from a team,
they went to Cleveland.
Thank you. Or Miami.
That's still the same narrative, or Cleveland. Or now, and this is why I'm telling you, I expect the likes of Boogie Cousins. I expect the likes of what's his name? Just name him. I expect him to be there.
Boogie Cousins is probably gonna want to go back to the Warriors because that was close he's gonna get to a championship.
I think he should stay there. I think it's a good fit for him. I just don't know how much they can pay him because he only signed that 1 year deal. So,
Yep.
I don't know. Of course, they can use their mid-level exception on him, but I
Which
mean, I don't
I,
know if they
I
want
think
to
at this
leave it.
point though, given him coming back with the injury, like
Hmm.
he's not the boogie that was in Sacramento destroying people all the time.
He should have stayed in Sacramento, honestly. I know he wanted to get out, but since he left Sacramento, he's gone downhill really fast.
As the Kings started to do a uphill increase
Right. And they're probably one player away from
from breaking that ceiling into the playoffs. Absolutely.
that's right. But ultimately, I agree with you. I think what you're saying is correct. I don't know. I never knew a fan base to make so many excuses for a player,
Like
and
they
that's
make
where it really
excuses
gets
for
to me.
him, and then say, "Oh well, Jordan had Pippen," but then we'll turn around and say, "Oh well, Pippen wasn't that good."
Yeah, that part was kind of rough.
Like you can't have your cake and eat it, folks. Like you really can't. You can't say one thing and then say another statement that completely contradicts what you just got finished saying. Like,
And
and
then
this is
people,
like in
yeah.
full fledged conversations with people. Oh
Oh,
well,
I know.
Jordan had Pippen. Well, Pippen sucked. What?
That is the
How does
narrative, though.
how does that work?
It is the narrative. But ultimately, I feel like what the Lakers and the media are doing is, and I said this earlier, breaking down and tearing down all the other teams so that they can build the Lakers. And I think,
Yeah.
honestly, I really think that there are a lot of Laker fans within the media.
Oh,
Um,
absolutely.
so, of course, they're like, oh, we're going to get Kyrie, we're going to get Kawhi, we're going to get all these people. And
Which is why,
it's,
which is why when they put out the report about Chris Middleton opting out of his player option to head into free agency, I wrote what I wrote on my post because if people immediately go, "Oh, he's going to the Lakers," no, he's not. They already said he's trying to work out a deal with the Bucks. He's gonna stay with the Bucks. They were they were in
one
the Eastern
game, two
Conference.
games away. Yeah, 2 games
Yes,
away.
like
Yeah.
come on, guys.
But these narratives are pretty rough. I mean, and not only just the Lakers, but of course Houston had its drama. Boston is going through it. The Knicks are going through it. And I think I told you this 2 weeks ago how the Knicks media is trying to put so many different kind of bugs in the air, like, oh, the Knicks might trade the pick. The Knicks might not take RJ. The Knicks might take Garland. It's like, oh, the Knicks
This
might
is this
trade for
is
Chris.
all this is
I,
all I'm hearing. This is
I
all
even
I'm
heard,
hearing.
listen, I even saw a report the Knicks might trade for Chris Paul today. I was like, oh my
No,
god.
no,
I
no.
was like, what is going on?
And
Um,
this is literally just, you know what? Chris Paul might want to go to the Knicks. Let me write an article about that, saying that the Knicks is inquiring about that. Like that's stupid.
it is pretty dumb, actually. But honestly,
Like you
I
got the
think
third pick in a, according to these same analysts, top heavy draft. Because all of a sudden they started talking about what's his name. Suddenly,
Morant
hmm?
or Garland.
Garland. They suddenly
Garland, yeah.
started talking about Garland.
Well, the reason they started talking about Garland is because and we're gonna talk about the draft, of course, later on, but
Yes.
so the top pick is settled, right? We know Zion is going number one. It would be insane if Zion didn't go number one, right? Number two, John Morant. Wouldn't be surprising if they flopped, if the Grizzlies said, you know what, we want RJ. We're getting RJ. But
Yes.
they just traded away Mike Conley, so it makes sense that they're going to take Morant.
Of course.
But they also, we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll talk about
And
that.
then,
We'll talk about that.
and then you got number three. The Knicks are sitting there; they can't mess it up. They take RJ, they don't overthink it, and it's good. But I think the only reason that it's coming up now is because I heard rumors that the Pelicans were looking to trade with the Knicks for that pick, which I heard was rejected. But it depends on what they're giving up, I guess, for the pick. Because of course, why wouldn't the Pelicans want to team up RJ and Zion
Of
in
course.
the NBA?
Because
Now,
according to reports, that was the original plan.
right. Now, in my personal opinion, if I'm the Pelicans, I would trade down with the Hawks, who
Mm-hmm.
had the number 8 pick. I think 8. I think they were going to get 8 and 10. If Cam Reddish falls to number 8, you easily just pair Cam
Pick
Reddish with
exactly.
Zion, and it's all good. But of course, you're not guaranteed at that particular point because the Bulls might easily take Cam at that particular spot. But honestly, I mean, I think that's the only reason Garland came up because I think there are certain teams that might want to move up to take Garland at the number 4 spot
See,
before the Bulls get up there. So it just depends, and I guess that's why.
see, and that's the other thing that grinds my gears about this whole draft.
Unless, hold on, unless the Knicks plan on trying to trade back in to the top 10 somehow, some way.
No, they're not that clever. Just take RJ
I'm,
and walk away.
I'm
Like
just saying,
not even joking. Like not even joking. Just
maybe they do.
take RJ and walk away. Because here's the problem:
Maybe.
they're gonna try to be fancy, and they're gonna overcomplicate it, and then they're gonna end up with nothing. This is how
No, it's
their
nothing.
trading on draft night tends to stem out. Because when they traded Tim Hardaway Jr. on draft night,
Hmm.
it didn't turn out that well.
Who they trade him for again?
Exactly.
I don't even remember, honestly.
Exactly.
And and then they brought him back.
For more money than they needed to pay him.
And then they traded him again. Hmm. Mm-mm-mm. Shame.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shame. But since we're here, I mean, we talked about the finals. We did a
hmm
finals recap. And we're
Well,
gonna get back to
yes. Yeah. Yeah.
we're gonna get back to the draft. But I mean, was there anything that we didn't talk about last week? I don't think so. I think the narrative is pretty set.
No,
But there
the
was
narrative all last week was Lakers, 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 LeBron James, Anthony Davis, 2020 NBA champion. That was, in a nutshell, that was the narrative.
well, let's do this then. This is a good time before we dive deeper into the draft. This is a good time to just go right back to that finals. And let's switch to the other team, the Warriors,
Yes.
in which Stephen Curry obviously is the topic of discussion this week. I think I told you, my coworker, who has a podcast, Mike on the Mic, talk,
He better be plugging us just as much as we're plugging him. I'm just putting that out there.
you know what? I'm okay with him not plugging us. He's new. He doesn't know the etiquette just yet. But I'll plug him.
We'll have to bring him
It's
on the
okay.
show then for next season.
He's a raging LeBron maniac, so we'll have to see how that goes.
I'm
Um,
gonna rescind my comment there.
yeah, a raging LeBron maniac. But he did a show on, Steph Curry being who he thought he was, and that's kind of the narrative that we talked about earlier today, as well as pretty much this.
No, he didn't just. If you're gonna crowd him, just crown their ass.
Yeah, it's kind of what he did, and saying that Steph Curry wasn't really that great of a player. He wouldn't build a franchise around him. He's not great in the playoffs, and we talked about the playoffs earlier. Um, now, his points were very valid to an extent.
Okay.
He said that Steph Curry, in playoff finals, he just couldn't hit the big shot, the game winners, I guess there are. When forced to play alone without the likes of Clay or, without the likes of KD, or I guess seasons before when Draymond gets suspended for, getting too many technicals. These are the games that people
For
expect.
Draymond pulling a Shinsuke Nakamura.
Right. These are the games that, they expect, hilarious, they expect Steph to step up and play lights out basketball. And according to many people,
He
he
didn't do it.
doesn't. Yeah, he doesn't do it.
Okay, so
Um,
let's open this up real quickly because you heard me talk about this during our phone conversation. I'm going to re-ask this question again. What is the criteria for either stepping up or not showing out in the
I
playoffs?
think honestly, to me, from what I've seen, and I think we talked about the constant, you know,
Ridicule of James Harden?
and yes, the criticism of James Harden in the playoffs, and I think it's always about the past. It's not about what they're doing right now. And normally the narrative is, "What have you done for me lately?"
Mm-hmm.
But when you're talking about someone's game, it's always about what they did 2 or 3
Two,
years
3 years
ago.
ago. Yep.
And I think that's what it is. So right now, Steph can't play no defense. He's a great shooter, but he's far removed from his MVP season. They choked when they went 73-9. That's the people that they were. That's the stuff they remember. The guy that choked after the team went 73-9 and they lost that 3-1 lead. That's the Stephen Curry that people think about when they're hating. They don't think about the other championships he won. The other three or four championships that they have. The
Yep.
MV, the first unanimous
Unanimous
MVP.
MVP, which I think people are more butthurt the fact that he was the first unanimous one.
I mean, it's one of those things that I just felt like it was a little bit too much. I don't think Steph was ever drafted to be the franchise guy. In my opinion, that's just my opinion. I
I
think
know.
they drafted him to be a solid player for them. Who would have thought that the Splash Brothers would be so great?
Which
Um,
is the other thing that people were upset about.
yeah, I mean, and they drafted those guys, and they draft Draymond. Now, after they got spanked up by LeBron, it seemed.
Okay, I see. I
Hold
don't
on,
have a
hold on,
problem with
hold
that
on. Here
because
you go.
you
Hold on,
said
hold on.
spanked up.
I mean, they well, because of the 3-1 comeback thing, people are saying that they got spanked up. Draymond called Kevin Durant, cousin Kevin, and said, "Hey, bro, what you doing? What you doing this summer? You think your mom will let you come over and hang out with us for a little bit, maybe a couple years?" Yeah, man, I might be able to come over. I'm gonna talk to my mom and see if I can come over. And then cousin Kevin comes
like,
over and
but
they
like,
win two
here's the problem
championships.
though. Did anyone see the final scores for all 7 games? Like,
Oh, dang well
do
people don't
they
care.
know what was the point differential for the first 6 games? Do you know how
Nah,
many games the Warriors got blown out and how many games the Cavaliers got blown out?
they don't care about that stuff.
Like,
That's irrelevant to those people.
you
That's
gotta be
irrelevant.
kidding me.
It's like, I mean, it's almost like asking how many first downs the Falcons got when they blew their lead
No one's
to
gonna ask
New
that
England.
question.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like nobody's gonna ask like how many points, or how many yards did the Falcons have in the second half, kind of thing. Like nobody. I mean, they might ask, but a lot of people don't care. They just know that they lost and it was embarrassing, and quote unquote they got spanked, and that's the part that's kind of like, ugh. LeBron's the greatest because he spanked the Warriors after he was down 3-1. You get that, but that's how deep it gets though. So that's Steph Curry's legacy right now. He's got 3 or 4 rings. He's got a unanimous MVP, but he just lost that one series, not the Warriors, but Steph
That
Curry lost.
Yep.
He lost that series. When
And imagine the irony though, when someone would say, "Well, LeBron James lost those series that he lost, and that's why he's, you know, 3-9 in the finals." I think we lost Doc. That's hilarious. I love it. Well, let's go. We're gonna get Doc back, but like that's the type of thing that would be upsetting. Is you know now we have to live up to these to such high standards for particular players, but then we can't take those high standards and impact them onto other players as well too. Because if we do that, now we're haters.
Right. And who wants to be a hater?
I don't know. I don't know who wants to be a hater anymore because it's not even worth being a hater anymore.
But then again, I think a lot of people want to hate. And, they only want to hate when it's in the benefit of building LeBron and
Yeah,
now the Lakers.
yeah. Because they want LeBron to tie Jordan on the number of champions that he won. So people won't have to sit there and say, well, LeBron is the only top player in the league to ever get swept in two finals.
Is that still possible?
No!
So
That's not
that's what I'm
possible
saying.
anymore. That's not possible anymore. It's actually quite funny. It's actually quite funny if you really think about it.
It is.
But like, I think people for that particular finals, and Doc, you might need to fix your audio just a smidge. But a lot of people in that finals were probably more upset that the Warriors kept blowing everyone out, that they wanted them to lose, than them not really liking Steph Curry. It turned into them not liking Steph Curry later on, but initially it was probably because their team got destroyed by the Warriors during the regular season. But once again, the other problem I have too is, well, we give a pass with LeBron James doing the bottle flip challenge in MSG.
But let's be honest, though. I mean, I really think that people hate when people win, and I think my audio is probably going to go out again because things are happening. Because Chris and I had a discussion about this, and I said some things, and
Yeah, well, let's make the formal announcement right now. After the season is over, we at Business Amongst Friends will be moving forward into our next season for Debate Amongst Friends without our part-time AV tech Chris.
that's right. Moving on.
We're moving on.
Moving on.
But, sir, as your audio is still on, you wanted to make a point?
I think that people just want to hate people who win too much. It's like when you see somebody who's successful. I'll give you an example. Not so much me, because I don't really care about these things, but I was at the store the other day, and there was a guy. Here's a guy. Beautiful car. He had it was like a Ferrari, butterfly doors or suicide doors, or whatever you call them. And, he was stunting a little bit. You could tell, he was, feeling himself. People were talking to him, ladies were coming up, old and young. And,
Of course.
he was just, I don't know if you ever seen I'm Gonna Get You Sucker when Fly Guy was walking down the street in his glass shoes before they broke open. But, he was that guy, strutting outside of Harris Teeter. He didn't even bother to go and park in a parking spot. He just parked alongside the little fire line. And I was sitting there and I was like, I could see how somebody could hate on him, but I don't really care about that car.
Nope.
I don't know what he does for a living. He could have a hard life for all I know.
He could.
And I could tell you right now, I don't know how much time Steph Curry puts in the gym, and I don't want to be that guy because I'm not going to be a basketball player putting that much time in the gym to be Steph Curry. So people hate on Steph Curry because he can shoot so good, but I think it's, if he's not their favorite player, he's their favorite enemy.
It's a shame, and
That's
you
just
know it's
it.
a shame.
Yeah, that's really it. I mean, he's the enemy. I hate playing against Golden State because I'm okay sometimes when Clay shoots, but once Steph starts shooting, like LCU is like even when I'm playing 2K, like I'd be like, I'll let Clay take that shot. I have a stronger feeling of Clay missing than Steph missing, and I know
Yes.
that's wrong to say, but you know, Clay Green is prone to miss.
Oh no. Well, and now that we're on the subject of Clay Thompson, that's the other thing that people
No,
want to
no,
say.
no. I said Clay Green.
I know you said Clay Green. I'm completely passing over that. Completely passing over that.
Hilarious.
But
You shouldn't though.
the problem that they try to do too is, well, Steph Curry's never been Finals MVP, and if Klay
Right.
Thompson didn't get hurt, then Klay Thompson would have been Finals MVP. In fact, I felt like Thompson should have been Finals MVP despite the loss.
So I feel like it's always the same to me. It's always the same. I think Steph scores his points. He usually has about 20 to 30 points somewhere in
Mm-hmm.
there. He does what he's supposed to do. He scores, he shoots threes, he does little floaters.
Yep.
He's not really going to blow you away with his passing ability or anything like that. But I always feel that I always felt that he wasn't playing up to an MVP caliber player in the playoffs. It's always the guys who had been there and kind of were superstars before him. Durant, Iguodala, like the guys who Iguodala was a beast, and I think a lot of people forgot about that. Iguodala
Of
was an
course, they forgot about
absolute
that.
he was
You
an
ever say what?
absolute
People forgot that
monster.
he ever existed.
Oh my God, he was an absolute monster before he got to Golden State and took
Yeah.
a kind of a six-man role. But I think with Steph, you know, there are times when you're not shooting well and you got to be able to do something else,
Yes.
and he doesn't have that something else.
I
And
will agree
that's
with
where
that.
it kind of starts to hurt. And you think about
But
even
but here's the problem though, and I agree with you. No one's saying that.
Well, Mike did say that. He said that on his show. But again, his narrative was based on that 73-9 Steph.
See
When
that?
you think about it, he even brought up, and this is something, of course, that I had said during the game last year when the Rocket Game 7 and the Rockets are 0-99 from three, but we were only like 7 points down.
Yep.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, will somebody please? Will someone please drive to the basket,
Yeah.
get a foul call, post somebody up, shoot a fadeaway, will somebody go massage Chris Paul's hamstring, please? Get him back out there. Come on,
Yeah.
coach. But that game, we're 0-99 from three. I mean, really, they should have blew us out,
Yes.
but they didn't.
Nope.
And you fast forward to this year, no real struggles, but I knew that
In which, by the
because
way,
this
just for the record, for everyone else to know, Houston only lost by 9 points.
the Rockets,
Yes, Houston only lost by 9 points in Game 7
after going 0-99,
after going 0 of 24 from 3 in that
you sure it was
stretch.
24 or it was 99?
It doesn't matter.
It really doesn't because we
It really
lost.
doesn't matter. Yes, like
And
it really
ultimately,
doesn't matter.
but I think when we look at this finals this year, and then we're going to get to the draft finally, but when we look at this finals this year, Steph had his 46-point game, 44-point game, and people are saying it was a quiet 46 because they didn't win, they didn't pull away, they didn't, it wasn't really helping them any. But it helped them stay in the game. And I
It
think people
did.
forget about that, because they didn't have the usual production that they needed.
Needed. Yep.
Um, I'm not going to say that he isn't a superstar or an all-star. I'm just going to say he is better than the player they thought they were drafting.
100% agree with you.
And this is what I'm going to ask you about this video I posted on Facebook.
Okay, this is what you've been waiting on all day,
Absolutely. Before
or
my
or at
computer,
least within the last hour.
yes, before my computer crapped out on me. I don't know what just happened. Chris must have like dropped it or something. However, the story is this is a what if scenario. What if the Clippers took a chance? This is the video and drafted Steph Curry number one overall. How much would have changed, right?
Okay.
So it shows him, big vignette of him, shooting threes, him rising to stardom, getting the shoe deals, him being in Space Jam 2 as the lead. And then some way, somehow, it automatically switched to LeBron James being on the Lakers and destroying Steph in the playoffs. And it's like, what if this happened? Would would you still make the same decision? But it was weird because it was like LeBron James is on the Lakers with Carmelo Anthony and Chris Paul and it was somebody else, and then on the Clippers it was like Steph Curry was on the Clippers with Paul George, DeAndre Jordan, and like one other person. I think Kawhi in this vignette was still on the Pacers. It was interesting, but it like took a quick turn from being all about Steph Curry to LeBron. I think it said, "What if LeBron never returned home? Instead of going from Miami back to Cleveland, he went straight to Los Angeles to the Lakers." That's where it went. I don't know how they got there, but that's where it went.
See, it was interesting until the LeBron part.
It was so funny. Like it said, what if he decided not to go home and he went straight to LA with whoever else was there?
They didn't have no
I
one
think
there.
I think in this video, I think KD, Westbrook, and Harden stayed together. I think
They would have won a championship.
yeah, they would have. I think if they would have stayed together and everybody developed, except for Westbrook. I think Westbrook, if he would have stayed the same as he was before, and KD developed the game that he did, Harden developed the game that he did, I think they would have. Westbrook was so deadly from that top of the key, that mid
That
range.
mid-range
I don't
jumper.
know why. Yeah, I don't know why he went away from that. It was unstoppable.
It was.
But yeah, this video was about Steph, and then it turned to really quickly to LeBron James.
Yeah, I don't care about the article, the video anymore now.
I wish you could see it, and that's why it was so funny. That's why it was so funny that Joey on our Facebook page went directly and said, "I wish you would have came to the Knicks. I want a what if about that." And it's like, no, Joey, this is about him going
To the
to the
Clippers.
Clippers. Number one overall.
Joey Plez.
Plez indeed. Plez
No,
indeed.
I don't care about the article anymore though, because the video anymore. Because like, I would have loved if they talked about his actual rise to stardom,
They
him
did.
making the playoffs, having a couple of tough
Hmm.
series with some of the Western Conference powerhouses. Like,
Hmm.
you didn't need to add LeBron James to this equation.
No, he didn't. Let's just assume that he goes home and he does everything that he did.
Exactly. First of all, it was better for his image for him to go back to Cleveland. We all agreed to that.
Right.
Had he went to the Lakers, he would have been more villainized.
He would have been. There's no question about it.
But I'm tired of talking about LeBron James.
So let's
I'm tired
go
of talking
on
about
to the.
him. I'm tired of talking about, the Lakers and how they're supposed to be the 2020 champs with only 5 people on the roster. Like, I'm tired of talking about. This is the first time we talked about this in months, and I'm tired of
This
talking
is
about it
true. It's ridiculous, isn't it?
because so much of what's been discussed has been absolute garbage that it made Doc and I want to call it a season early.
This is very true. You definitely didn't want to talk about half of the things that were going on, but with so much, Aesop narratives,
Yes.
it was hard to pass up on. But I mean, we're at what, 8:01? I mean, we've been going for about 45 minutes. One technical issue. The draft, I think I'm going through the top five picks. I think that when I look at it, it's probably going to be pretty clear cut as far as who goes where.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
They have this latest mock draft has Kobe White going to the Suns.
which is interesting. Which I don't know if you've heard this, but there was rumor
Mm.
that and we talked about this over the weekend. I think my brother mentioned it that the Suns would
Yes,
be interested in trading Devin Booker.
that's not happening.
I didn't think that was happening
Okay,
either.
I'll say this: it shouldn't happen, but
Right.
the
It's the
Suns are a
Suns.
worse organization than the Knicks, so they might just do it.
That's insane.
They might just do it.
Mm.
So you heard it from me. It
I
shouldn't
did.
happen, but knowing the Suns front office, and you can ask any Suns fans, they might just do it anyway.
That's really crazy when you think about it. So let's just look at it the way it is. The top 3 to 4 picks might be a lock. Where it gets a little tricky is pick 5 through 10.
Yeah.
Um,
Which there's
you
some
know,
really
at,
solid players on here, but no one's giving them respect. This is and
uh,
this was I was gonna say about my other issue. They spend so much time
mhm,
talking about Zion Williamson
true.
that it undervalued everyone else in this draft, and it's a god dang shame. And those media personalities should be freaking ashamed of themselves because these players, these young men, have worked their butts off to get
Hmm.
the opportunity to get to this next stage in their careers. And the fact that no one decided to start covering them. We're talking about mainstream. Because you
Right.
know the local papers are going to talk about them.
Hmm.
But our nation's not following just local papers.
Right.
Because we have so many people who are disciples of the Stephen A. Smith cult who live and breathe by his blasphemy and
Yeah. That thing.
that people like Cam Reddish, Kobe Wright, Bobo, Nasir Little, who was really, really good.
Yeah. PJ Washington,
Yes!
Tyler Hero. There's a few people
There's
that
a
are really,
lot of
really
really
good.
good players. Ryu
Kevin Porter
Hachimura,
Jr.
who you really like from
Hmm.
Gonzaga.
I did.
But not one person talking about these players. And it's a
Hmm.
shame, and they should all be freaking ashamed of themselves, too.
I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see who gets drafted where. Honestly, I do believe I'm going to go on a limb and say we're going to have at least 5 trades in the
Oh,
first round.
absolutely. Oh, absolutely.
I really think that this is a type of trade, not trade, but this is the type of draft.
This mock draft actually has Bobo going to the Celtics.
I see that because they might lose Al Horford, which makes sense. But I mean, if you trade for Clint
Pella,
Capella,
then
then
you
you
should
can
be
draft
good.
a new guard. Because I don't know. I mean, obviously they're going to lose. They might lose Al Horford and Kyrie, right? So if they
Yes,
lose Al Horford and Kyrie, they really need to move on from the Gordon Hayward experience.
I agree. I felt like they should have
They
tried to
need to
trade
move
him
on
midway last year. Like,
before he. Oh yeah, before he came back, I would have traded him.
well, no, because I don't think anyone's going to try to take the trade value with him coming back from such a horrific injury. But at the trade deadline last year, they could have made that move, and that could
Yeah, I
have
would have
saved their
moved him.
season.
I would have moved him because they had these young guys, and I think I said this before
Hmm.
when they were in the playoffs last year that they were going to have a major problem with their rotation, and I was it was a big challenge for Brad Stevens because you had Morris, you had Brown, you
Yep.
got Tatum, who Tatum came on big last year, and now you have these young guys out there pretty much by themselves,
Yeah.
unless you can get another veteran to come in. You're losing two veterans. And you're going to have some veterans on the team still, but you don't have that veteran that's going to get you to the
To that
basically to
next
the next
level.
level of the playoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, like when you look at the other teams in the Eastern Conference, I mean, the Bucks, they had Brook Lopez, who's a free agent.
Hmm.
You know, they had what's his name? What's the point guard over there? Bledsoe.
Yep. Eric Bledsoe.
Um, Yeah, I mean, they got Mirotic off the bench. They had Ilyasova,
Hmm.
guys who had kind of been there. You look at Toronto, obviously, Marc Gasol, you got Kawhi, Kyle Lowry, so I feel like the other teams, and even Philadelphia, them losing potentially Jimmy Butler
Hmm.
would be huge for them. And so they need to do everything in their power to make sure
Well,
he doesn't
and do they
leave
still have
Philly.
JJ Redick?
They own his bird rights. I think he's a restricted free agent, I think. I know that they have to re-sign him, but I don't know if they should bring JJ back. I mean, I
I don't
like
think
JJ
they
because
should
he's
at
a
all.
dookie, but I don't think he's the guy, man. Here's a guy who
Ooh.
he he he, he shoots very well. I mean, he's very inconsistent, but I don't
Nope.
think that
JJ is just gonna be a free agent. He
free
will
agent
be a free agent.
unrestricted.
Yeah.
I don't. I mean, first of all, you can't pay JJ another $20 million. First and foremost, I don't care
He got
what
12
happens.
million.
12, okay.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I think the year before, it might be
Yeah.
some
The prior
guarantees in
contract
there.
was like 20.
Okay. He can't get $20 million ever again. I don't know why he got $20 million. But if they lose out on Jimmy and then I don't know if they're going to keep, what's his name?
What's his name?
Dang it, what's his name? The other small forward that they got late from the Clippers.
Mike Scott?
No, no, no,
No.
no. I see
Oh,
his
Tobias
face.
Harris.
Like Tobias Harris. They cannot lose both of them. They
That's possible.
cannot
That is
lose both
possible.
of them. So if Jimmy Butler walks, which they might want to let Jimmy Butler walk because he's about to be 30, 31 years old, you're talking about committing, I think it's like $190 million or something crazy like that, they said, at this max deal.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know. But you can't let both of them walk out. They need to switch it up. They need somebody else who can score because relying on Embiid every night in and night out, and I assume he's going to come back in better shape. He's going to come back as healthy as he possibly can. He doesn't want to be a
I mean,
crying
he
meme,
kind of
for the
has to
rest of
do it
his life.
because he's stuck there for the next 4 years potentially.
Right. He can't be coming out and just being a crying meme now. So he has to really come out and ball out.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, these teams in the East they're no slouches. So the Celtics definitely need somebody to come in. They're going to have to bring somebody in. Um, and it would be interesting if they made a call to like Kemba Walker or somebody like that.
And that can happen.
Yeah, that would be
That can
interesting.
happen. But once again,
But I
the
do.
problem is no one's talking about this.
I want to talk about Kimba.
No, well, now they're talking about Kevin because they want Kevin to go to the Lakers.
I wasn't gonna say that, but that is what I. That's the narrative that I heard as well.
Like, that's the problem. Like, oh, this person, opt out of his contract. Oh, he needs to go to the Lakers.
Well, you just care about who's going to the Knicks.
Who, me?
Who is going to? Yeah, who is going to the Knicks?
No one is.
I mean, that's a big problem.
No one is. You want me to tell you why? Because they put all their eggs in the KD basket.
Hmm. Yeah, they did.
And
Unless they
I've
can
said
put
this before. I'm like, don't put all your eggs in one basket with KD because anything could happen.
unless they can swing Kawhi Leonard in some immaculate
Kawhi's
swing
not
for the
going to New
fences.
York. I would love for Kawhi to
I
come
don't
to New
think
York,
so.
but he ain't going to New York. I wouldn't put that on him. I like him too much to put that on him.
Wow. I don't know, man. And it's gonna, like I said, the draft is gonna be great. I'm looking forward to it tomorrow. I think, people, you know, people realizing their dreams
Mm-hmm.
and having their dreams fulfilled, the boyhood dream that's become a reality. I know we joke about it a lot, but I mean, it really is, the boyhood dream that's become a reality.
Yep.
And to see these guys, although overshadowed by King Zion, um, I think you're going to see several guys in this draft class hopefully get into good spots where they can thrive, and actually play. Because there's a lot of guys who played college basketball who are really, really good.
Yep.
But now you look around and you don't even know where these guys play.
Wait, real quick. Oh, Steph Curry was in the Blake Griffin draft, so that's why they made the article. Okay, now I have
Yes,
context.
yes. Blake Griffin went number 2 to the
No, he went number
Grizzlies.
one.
No, no, no. In the alternate
Oh,
universe.
yeah, you had to say all that immediately. I was like, wait,
I'm
what? No, you went
sorry.
number one.
I'm sorry. In the alternate universe, he went number 2.
Which means Hasheem Thabit went out of the lottery. Then I'm assuming.
No, he actually might have went number 3. Let me see if I can look through the video really
It's okay.
quickly
No,
here.
it's okay. I don't care about the video anymore. I don't
Now I
care about that.
care.
I don't care about that anymore. I really
I
don't.
really care now.
No, don't.
I know.
Just don't. Because we
I'm
freaking
gonna
picked up
look.
Jordan Hill, which upset me.
I don't think you guys drafted Jordan
I don't think
Hill.
they
But
would
then
have
again,
cared who we drafted because they wanted to immediately talk about LeBron James. So let's just keep going. You know I'm
wow.
right. You know I'm right.
Wow. Well, let's talk about the trade that happened. The real trade
Let's talk about the
that happened.
real trade.
And because my computer went down, obviously
I
I
will
don't
talk
have the
about
trade
it.
anymore.
Mike
Yeah, but
Conley of the Memphis Grizzlies, well, formerly of the Memphis Grizzlies, was traded today to the Utah Jazz. Here's the full transaction.
mm-hmm.
Mike Conley was traded to Utah Jazz for Grayson Allen, your boy,
Mm,
Cal
crazy.
Culver, and Jay Crowder, plus the 23rd pick of this year's draft, plus a future first round pick.